Now take a minute and collect your thoughts because I'm gonna throw a little test your way. Ready?
I guess so.
Good, let's begin.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes. When she walks, she's like a samba that swings so cool and sways so gently that when she passes, each one she passes goes.
Waiting for the masses, honey, huh? Oh, God. Seems like we're alone for a minute. There's nobody waiting outside. There's nobody inside. There's nobody inside. Seems like they say that it's all destroyed outside. Do you speak English? You know, because I've never heard you speak. I've never heard your voice. Is it nice? Do you have a nice voice? Huh? Can you sing? Can you sing? Can you sing? I can't fucking sing. So, Tommy.
Tim.
Well, I like Tommy.
My name's Tim.
Okay, but I said I like Tommy, you know. Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy. So, you want to smoke?
No, thanks.
Well, hold it for a second, okay? Come on. You can hold it, can't you?
This is a very romantic scene that ends in tragedy.
You seem to have it all planned out. I don't like that. Be spontaneous, my new friend.
Speaking of Bigfoot, did you know your left foot was bigger than your right? And two wrongs don't make one? Right?
Snaps doesn't like Welby Snap's dog food. The string comes up through the bowl, attaches to Snap's collar, which pulls Snaps, against his will, to the food.
I need a life.
What do you think?
Is the metal too sci-fi?
Yeah, I tried to be an angel, but I'm just a whore.
I really hate women who use their overt sexuality to get attention.
I think we're responsible for everything. I raise my hand. I'm responsible. I turn my head to the right. I'm responsible. I'm unhappy. I'm responsible. Like I told you, everything's beautiful. You just have to see it that way.
I ran into this woman, this incredible woman at a party last year. I hadn't seen her in a while. And just seeing her reminded me of how amazing she is. She, and I mean, she has a core that is, wow, pow, and it's like breathtaking. She is a rare beauty. I first met her in a class, a workshop that changed my life. I think everyone who took Corey Allen's workshop was changed and had the experience that was an indelible imprint in our lives. It helped us, he helped us to reach our true selves. At least he did for me. This woman is a powerhouse. She has done projects for Disney, for Fox, MTV, Lionsgate, Columbia Pictures, Nickelodeon. And I saw this. She has a new film that I saw last night, which I'm excited to get into. So we'll get into that during this visit. She's an actress, a singer, a producer, a director, a writer, and someone that always makes me feel so glad to be where I am at this moment. Nancye Ferguson. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, well, that was quite an introduction. I feel so moved.
Well, comes from my heart.
I know we really did have a very special time together, and it brings tears to my eyes to remember how deep and how important those days in Corey's class were for all of us. And those days together leave an imprint on us forever, and the people that we share that experience with, you're forever connected, because you don't, I in my life try to stay that connected every moment of every day, but it's sometimes hard to have play dates with that kind of connection all the time. So for us to have a very protected environment where we got to really basically share our souls with each other, that's an experience that you hold forever in your heart and soul. So thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the reminder of that which we are.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. Like we're bonded, we're connected in a certain magical way through Corey.
Yeah, it's a family.
Yeah. And since we're connected to Corey right now, I'm going to come out with a question that was asked.
Okay.
What do you want the most at this moment in your life?
Ooh, wow. You are asking that one. I always remembered I had to just drop in when Corey asked it. And I mean, the first thing that popped in my head is love. I just don't think that with everything going on now, I don't think that there is a bigger feeling that I want for everyone, not only to have within, but without, because, and I do really think that we need to have that within first, and then we can share. But I really feel like the world just needs more love than ever. And if we have that, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm on all kinds and levels. So I'll take it all.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting because I had another interview this week with a friend who just did the Beatles documentary a couple years ago.
Oh.
And that song came into my mind. All you need is love.
Da, 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 da.
All you need is love.
Love is all you need.
Yeah, I tell you. So when did you first know that you wanted to be in the entertainment industry, and why?
Okay. So mine came with a very interesting history, because I got a degree in art. And at the time, I was starting to do a lot of performance art and avant-garde theater and doing pieces on campus and around. I was at San Diego State University and around San Diego. And then when I had come back to Los Angeles, I was still continuing like avant-garde dance theater and doing performance art. And the entertainment industry sort of found me, which was really interesting because I just came at it from such a different perspective, because I looked at everything still as a performance artist or as an artist. So that's why it was really, and then as the entertainment industry found me, then I felt, realized that I had come to my own method, my own technique, my own way of performing. But it didn't always translate when you had to audition and you had to have these sort of experiences in that needed like what would be called technique. Even though I had my own technique, I could totally come to things. It was always process oriented. I always made things for myself, or people asked me to be in things. So there was never competition or anything like that, which I love. I just assumed that everybody just gets to work and we didn't have to have a part over someone else. That's my least favorite part of that. Right. So that's when I started to study acting, and that's when I fell in love with the study of acting. And what I found, always kind of having this search and spiritual path that I've been on, that acting training is actually a very high form of a spiritual training, and that what you study as an actor is what you learn on a spiritual path, like that very question that you asked, like, what is the most that you want? If every day we checked in and went, what do we want? What is our intention for this day? It may just be to have a beautiful day, but if you set that out in motion early in the morning, you will have a beautiful day. Usually it does work that way. And sure, we have obstacles and not as much traffic anymore, but different things that we have to deal with, and many disappointments and many hardships. But if you set your intentions, you usually can find ways to rise to those intentions. So and so much about the acting training is about developing the self and being one with oneself and starting from within and then expressing towards, to another. So that I fell in love with that two parts of it, not only the training, but also that it was sort of a spiritual path.
It's so beautiful you saying this, and I was listening to you, and all of a sudden I just felt that Corey's visiting right now with us. And it got me a little, it's, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that I got teary-eyed when you said that too. He's ever present in all that part, because if anyone, I had other classes, and then once you get to Corey, it's just pure spiritual path. And he's like the perfect teacher. If all teachers would be as Corey, where he would never take credit. Even we tried to shower him with, like, you're allowing us to have the space and this, but
I know, don't call me guru.
Yeah, no guru, no teacher. It's all you, it's all you, it's all you. And that's that's where most teacher gurus sort of fail, because they have a lot of adoration, and and people will thank you at the Academy Award, and they like that and all those accolades. But I feel that Corey was so pure and was always present and allowed such an important space for us, and such an example of what a true teacher is, but also a beautiful actor, director, all of those things. So he is a really great role model for us.
Yeah.
And then so with my own path, in terms of being an artist, as everyone knows, whatever level you are, whoever you are, there comes a point where you're rejected quite a bit, and you are told when you can't work. And I was like, well, I was an artist. We never had that. When I had a piece to do, I did all the roles. So it was like, we all were producers. There was never anything anyone did for you. So you knew how to sort of create something from scratch, whether it was a performance piece or a painting. So you learn tools that you just basically, as artists, you are producers. You produce your own work. And, since I did performance art, mine was very theatrical. So I sort of had those skills. And
now, where did you grow up? What area?
I grew up in Atwater Village in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
So then I just started going, well, I'd like to start creating things for myself, because I don't really want to be in this position that I'm just constantly told when I can't work and which jobs and not. And so that's when I started producing and directing and doing films and then I saw I had these skills as a producer. So some things I created things that weren't for just myself, but then producing. And then it sort of started moving more into, I did a documentary on Robert Williams, the artist. Right, Robert Williams, Mr. Bitchin, and which I co-directed and produced and wrote. And then I also just did the documentary on my mom. So, then I sort of moved a little bit more into that writer, director, producer role, but like more I've been very interested in documentaries. So.
Right. Now, so you do the acting, the singing, the producing, the writing. Do you have a favorite, or do you lean toward one, or?
Well, it's interesting, because I if somebody always asked me, I'm like, at the drop of a hat, I would always love to be acting, and, but I love like when I get asked to, like, oh, can you be in this? Okay, great. I don't mind auditioning too, but I really love acting. But I can't, I have to say that when I'm doing, all the other roles, directing and producing stuff, I do feel that same spirit. And what ends up translating for me is, that feeling that you have in the moment to moment with acting and all those experiences, and sometimes when there's an audience. But with directing and producing, I find that same experience when you're screening something and people are watching it. I get that same sort of feeling as when you walk on a stage, like, oh, wow, they're seeing the work and it's a live experience and you can kind of feel the room. And I find that to be very exciting.
And it's sort of like cooking a souffle.
Yeah, I don't cook, but I love to eat. So you'll have to make it for me.
You cook the movies. You make the movies that.
I've got my witch's brew, but it's not food.
Oh my God. And your website is, I love it because I had known you since pretty much I got to LA almost. I don't know, 30 years, I don't know. I know we're both, I was 2 at the time. And
right, yes, right. We were just being born, right? Reborn.
Right?
Yeah.
Visiting kids. Yeah. I watched those, and the album, named Album of the Year, was critically acclaimed.
Yeah, so, that was, again, came out of a performance art idea. Where I just thought I was going to have a couple kids on stage and do it one time. And then people loved it so much. In fact, we only had 2 songs, Who Stole My Barbie Doll Away from Me, and then Dropped Me Off at the Galleria. And then we got an encore. And so we had to do Drop Me Off at the Galleria again, because, it was just a one-time thing, and it just developed. And then it developed with the children that I got, to come on board. And it was such a special project. I mean, Autumn, one of the little kids that came on, she had cancer from age 2 to 4, and it was a dream for her to be in a band. And so that was just, not only was it so loving and so special, but it was just so fun for all of us. And like, we performed in front of 3,000 people.
And it was probably very healing for her.
She loved it. She loved it. Yeah. In fact, we had a reunion, and then Alex was my niece through Mark Mothersbaugh when she was little, and her dad was in my band, Bob Mothersbaugh, Devo. And we had a reunion, the 2 of us. Scarlett was in France, and she just had a baby, so with the time change. But this movie Rockula that I was in had a 30-year reunion, and the kids were they're now
right. They'll always be kids.
Yeah, forever kids. We were all talking about that experience of being in the band, but also them being in a movie, because people wanted us, wanted them. I had a role, and then I was playing in a band, and then when I had to go on stage, they had them go on stage with me. It all worked out in the film. So it was so great to see them, and we stay in touch. And those kinds of things that you do in your life just stay with you forever.
And you've done so many things. I mean, the Spirit of 76 with David Cassidy and Leif Garrett. You were on Veronica's Closet.
Oh. Spirit of 76, I got to act with Carl Reiner.
Oh my God!
I was his nurse in a scene. Yeah. With, his son directed that movie. I know. And that was Carl Reiner and Mark Mothersbaugh, my husband at the time, and Jerry Casale. I mean, it was so fun. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was watching the trailer and I went, oh my God, I've got to watch this again. I remember watching it years ago, but it's like, and then, of course, David Lynch. When I say David Lynch, what comes to your mind?
David is the most adorable man, but he, another special human being. And that was a dream come true for me, because if someone asked me who would you want to work with, I would say David Lynch. And so when that happened, You know, I was doing ABC, a series regular on an ABC series that was a David Lynch project. It couldn't be higher than that at the time.
Which was on the air.
Yeah, on the air, yeah. So, you know, David was ahead of his time. If there was cable TV, you know, ABC was sort of hard to fit in. You know, they wouldn't even allow Twin Peaks then to continue, which was ridiculous. They took it off the air, you know, because it was ABC as opposed to now. You know, if it was in our environment, they have these little projects that just sort of get to last and see who their audience is. And it's a very different environment. So,
right.
And you know, it's interesting. You're reminding me of how eclectic I am. And I would have to say that it's probably not the way people say that's how to focus. If you want to really, you know, have a career, you pick one thing and then you do that, and people know people for certain things. But it's just not my way. I feel like I've just been eclectic in my spiritual path. I've been eclectic in my acting teachers. Like I love doing multiple things and experience, just having new experiences. It's all coming from being an artist and everything having those sort of roots in art and the way I look at the world. And it's just, you know, like to me, everything is performance art, like the whole world.
I was thinking about that yesterday too, when I was looking through all the work you have done, and I was, that word is perfect. That one didn't come to my mind, but it was how you were just going through all this amazing stuff. I mean, and getting back to on the air, you acted with David L. Lander.
Yes, I know.
So amazing.
And not only did I act with him, it was, you know, I was his stage manager and he was the director of this live television show. So we had, most of my work was with David or like my other, you know, co-star. So, and we had we had a very special relationship. We would like talk about our history and this and that, and it was just pure fun. It was pure fun. That's what comes to mind with On the Air. It was just joy, and it was so loving. David Lynch is someone that creates an environment for everyone, no matter if you're the makeup artist or the set design or you know, everyone works with him. He's hands-on everything, and everybody wants to do their best and just rise to the occasion to be part of his vision. And he makes everyone feel so special, and why he selected you, and you know, you really, it's a really unique and special experience.
It's so good to hear that, you know, when you admire someone like David Lynch, and then you hear these stories that he's wonderful. So,
wonderful. And he has a really strong and it's been for a really long time practice of TM, which he.
Right.
Yes, so which I do as well, but you know, being the eclectic person that I am, I do multiple different meditations at different times, and I did TM in college, so I actually been doing it quite a bit during our COVID session. Can't get enough meditation.
Well, now this would be we have Performing Arts Studio West watching, and Meet the Biz and the YouTube world. What is somebody says, okay, we see the light at the end of the tunnel right now with this whole COVID thing. And how do you, let's say somebody who hasn't gone to TM, how do you center yourself?
Oh, well, what I found, you know, I was completely alone with my cat Lucy, who will probably show up again. What I found was okay, and I had to quarantine when I first was in lockdown anyway, because I was flying to get back here. And so I quarantined for 14 days, and it was pure lockdown. And I just started to go into like, you know, okay, Nancye, you need to really get it together and go within. And I found that the amount of people offering Reiki healings and sound baths and meditations online and Zoom and dance classes that were really centering you, because there was like, 10,000 people doing it together. And this guy was just so joyful and so full of love and would always bring you into that at the end. And I found that there's an enormous amount of stuff that's free online. There's plenty of apps that help people with meditation of guide. You start to see what's good for you. I find the sound baths can get you in this incredible space. I really found some beautiful healers that came forth. People were just right and left giving themselves and their gifts to the world for the healing. And I took the challenge and found like that it just became a spiritual retreat for me. And I finished my completed the documentary on my mom Sue, and that just connection I have with myself it was like, okay, you're either gonna really go within and get strong, or this is going to be really difficult. And I started to really get a sense that the planet just needed this global pause, and we needed a total reset button. And for those that took that as that, I think are going to come out, and have a brand new world. And hopefully, I think, that will be a lot. And we have a new president. And I mean, so many things changed within that. But there's a lot of, you said about eclectic, I guess diversified would be a current word. But we have so much attention being paid to those that need it now, and things that have been underneath, that have come up in the previous 4 years, that have come to the surface, and a lot of, unfortunately, hate and anger, and there's a lot of healing to be had. So for those that went within, for those that see the challenge of what we have ahead, like to heal the planet, which started to get a little relief without the cars on it, and start to sort of see what's important, what your values are, what community is. And also, I cannot believe the power of Zoom. I was alone and felt so connected. And people were doing Reiki healings through Zoom, and I was like, wow, that was really powerful. It's just energy that transcends. So it just goes to show you that energy, as we know, as actors, energy moves through space and time. It can go to the back of a theater, it could go through the wall, so you start to learn that energy can be sent, and that's why I started out with love, because if you have that could be sent as a healing for the planet and for individuals, and it can really transcend a lot.
Yeah. It has been quite a journey this last year about how do you keep centered, and it's so true. And in fact, I met somebody online who came to do a half an hour sort of healing. It wanted to meet the business. So it's interesting how we're all connected, and we need to take care of ourselves.
We're all connected, yes. And that is something that we forget, and then we started, even in isolation, I think we started to see, because this is the first time in the history of the planet as I know it, that we had a global experience simultaneously. And so wild, right? That this all happened to everyone at the same time. So, hopefully the healing will happen as well and continue for the planet.